She attended 20 auditions. She failed every single one. The entertainment companies that did invite her in, some of them weren't even real. She got scammed twice. She was 13 years old, living in a cockroach-infested room with her grandmother, separated from both of her parents, trying to pay back a debt that was never even hers. And for 2 straight years, nobody in the Korean music industry wanted her. Today, she is the only person in recorded history to be voted South Korea's Singer of the Year by Gallup Korea across 3 separate decades. Her latest drama just became the 3rd highest-rated Friday-Saturday series in MBC history. She's been on Korean charts continuously for 17 years. This is the IU story. And the part they never tell you is how close none of it came to happening at all. If you know IU, you probably know a few things. You know Good Day. The 2010 track with that triple high note at the climax that people are still talking about 15 years later. You know her face from My Mister, from Hotel del Luna, from When Life Gives You Tangerines, the Netflix drama that hit the global top 10 in 2025. And you know that she has been a celebrity in South Korea for 17 years. Not a flash in the pan, not a legacy act coasting on nostalgia, but someone who releases new work and people genuinely stop what they are doing. What you probably don't know is the year before her debut, when she was 15 years old, broke, and actively being told by the people around her to give up. You don't know the specific moment that planted the idea of singing in her head at all. And you almost certainly don't know what those triple high notes actually did to her body, or why her doctors eventually banned her from performing them live ever again. Let's go back to the beginning. Lee Ji-eun was born on May 16, 1993 in Songjeong-dong, Seoul, South Korea. Her childhood was ordinary, until it wasn't. When she was in elementary school, her family's finances collapsed. Not because of a bad business decision, not because of reckless spending. Her parents had signed on as loan guarantors for a relative. That relative disappeared with the money. Just like that, a debt that wasn't theirs became theirs, and they couldn't pay it back. She and her younger brother were moved in with their grandmother in Uijeongbu, on the outskirts of the city. Their parents couldn't afford to be there, so they weren't. For over a year, the kids lived in a single studio room with their grandmother and a cousin. The room was small, it was damp, it was full of cockroaches. Lee Ji-eun was in elementary school. Her parents were somewhere else in the city, working themselves back from nothing. She didn't perform during this period. She didn't have a plan. She was just trying to hold it together. The turning point, the first one, happened at a school sports day. There was an informal talent segment. Ji-eun got up and sang in front of her classmates. The crowd went quiet. Then people actually clapped, not politely, but with a kind of surprise. A teacher told her she had something. She decided then, aged around 12, that she wanted to become a singer. What followed was 2 years of rejection, 20 auditions, 20 no's. Not one agency said yes, and not just rejections. A couple of those so-called talent agencies turned out to be fraudulent. She was scammed. As a teenager with almost nothing, she kept trying to find a door in and kept finding walls. In 2007, she finally got in. Lowen Entertainment signed her as a trainee at age 13. She trained for a year. And then, on September 18, 2008, at 15 years old, one of the youngest solo debuts in modern Korean music history, Lee Ji-eun became IU. The name she chose means I and you. Her belief that music is the thing that makes two people become one. She would later say it was also a quiet promise, that she wasn't doing this alone, that there was always someone on the other side listening. Her first single, Lost Child, was modest. Her second EP was modest. She wasn't an overnight success, but Lowen kept her on, and IU kept writing. December 9th, 2010, Lowen Entertainment releases the lead single from IU's third EP. The song is called Good Day. On paper, it sounds like a standard pop record, upbeat, bright, built for the kind of teen-focused music shows that dominated Korean television at the time. IU sings through the first two-thirds with that warmth her small fan base already loved. Then the bridge arrives. She hits a note, then a second note, then a third, each one higher than the last, stacked in rapid succession, clean and controlled at the very top of her vocal range. IU has since said she put the triple high note in almost as a joke during studio production. She didn't think through what it would mean to have to reproduce it live. "It worked in the recording," she later said, "and then I started worrying about what I'd done." The song debuted at #1 on the Gaon digital chart. It held the top spot for 5 weeks. It sold over 4.4 million digital units in a single year. In 2010, when downloading, not streaming, was how Koreans bought music. A decade later, Billboard magazine ranked Good Day at #1 on their definitive list of the 100 greatest K-pop songs of the 2000s. Not one of the best, #1. IU performed that triple high note live for years afterward. On music shows, at concerts, at award galas, fans came specifically for that moment. But here's what almost nobody covered. The physical toll was serious: vocal cord nodules, repeated inflammation, and eventually her doctors sat her down and told her clearly, "Stop singing that note live." The risk of permanent vocal damage was too high. A note that made her famous became something she was medically forbidden from performing. There is something quietly significant about that. The music industry had found the thing audiences loved about IU and demanded she keep delivering it. Her own body said no. That tension between what the world wanted from her and what she could actually sustain would play out again and again over the next 15 years. But Good Day had done something irreversible. IU was no longer a modest debut story. She was the voice of a generation. Here is why IU is different from nearly every K-pop artist of her generation, and why the obsession is justified. She doesn't just perform, she writes, she composes, she produces. From around 2011 onward, IU began taking serious creative control over her sound, writing and composing her own material at a time when most acts in K-pop worked exclusively from a stable of professional songwriters. Albums like Modern Times, 2013, and Chatshire, 2015, weren't just chart performers. They were deliberate artistic statements, and they earned her a different kind of fan. The kind who doesn't just follow an idol, but follows a body of work. That connection runs deep, and it has a complicated side. In 2013, IU publicly talked about a period of disordered eating. She had been under industry pressure since she was 15, about her weight, about her image, about whether she deserved the attention she was getting. The anxiety spiraled into bulimia. She described surviving on 1 apple, 2 sweet potatoes, and a protein shake per day, and presenting this on television like it was a normal diet tip. Korea heard it. International fans heard it. And instead of retreating from the conversation, IU stayed in it. She sought professional help. She spoke openly about recovery. She became, largely without intending to, one of the most visible advocates for mental health in the Korean entertainment industry. Not because she gave a speech, but because she refused to pretend it hadn't happened. That authenticity is a large part of why listeners don't just like IU. They feel like they know her. And when artists make you feel that way, you go back to the catalog again and again. Speaking of going deep on a catalog, if you're building a serious listening setup for artists like IU, whose produced sound rewards attention, Sony's WH-1000XM5 headphones are worth knowing about. Industry standard noise cancellation, 30-hour battery, and a level of detail retrieval that makes a real difference with layered studio recordings. Link in the description if you're curious. Back to the story. Because the second half of IU's career might be more remarkable than the first. In 2025, she starred in When Life Gives You Tangerines on Netflix, a sweeping, multi-generational drama set in Jeju Island. It entered Netflix's global top 10 for non-English series in 2 consecutive weeks. At the 61st Baeksang Arts Awards, it won 4 prizes, including Best Drama. IU personally won Best Actress and the Grand Prize at the Blue Dragon Series Awards. Then Gallup Korea named her Singer of the Year for 2025, the 3rd time she has received that designation, and the only artist ever to claim it across 3 separate decades. Then came 2026, Perfect Crown, a royal romance drama co-starring Baeyeon Woo-seok, premiered on MBC and Disney Plus on April 10, 2026. Its finale aired on May 16th, a week before this video, and pulled 13.8% national ratings, making it the 3rd highest-rated Friday-Saturday drama in MBC history. She is not a legacy act. She is not coasting. 17 years in, IU is producing some of the best-received work of her career. And this brings us to a debate that has been running quietly in IU's fan base for years, and I think it is worth having properly. IU debuted as a singer. She became Korea's national sweetheart through music. Good Day, 23, Palette, Celebrity, songs that defined entire years for Korean listeners across multiple generations. She's been charting somewhere, continuously, for 17 years. No K-pop group has a run like that. No Korean solo artist has sustained this. But her acting work over the last 5 years has won awards that her music never reached. My Mister, in 2018, changed how Korean critics talked about idol actors entirely. When Life Gives You Tangerines went global in a way her music, as beloved as it is domestically, never quite managed. So here's the question, and I want you to actually think about this before you drop your answer. Is IU the greatest musician who happens to act? Or is she the greatest actress who happens to make music? There is no wrong answer here. But here is my challenge. Defend it with something specific. Not, she's amazing at both. Name the exact song, the exact scene, the single moment that proves your case. Drop it in the comments. I genuinely want to read them. If you made it this far, subscribe. We drop stories like this every week. Follow at Stardom on Instagram and TikTok. See you in the next one.